We've made it, everybody. Yes, part 3. We're painting a lighthouse. We're excited. We're finishing we're doing the finishing touches now, which is the most exciting part of the painting. We've gotten to the point where we've completed most of the work we had to do. We got in our lighter values, our darker values, our shadows. We left a lot of white paper there. That's the most striking thing about this painting we talked about in the very first part. If you haven't watched, go back to part 1, and I discuss in detail how the exciting part of this painting and the real fun part of this painting is leaving the white paper, because that's the real bright white sunlight just striking and along the white stucco walls of this building and this lighthouse, and that's the real like gem of this painting. It makes the painting actually. That bright white paper, leaving that, and then putting in all the rest of those beautiful colors, it just really pops and looks great. So we're going to do our finishing touches. I let this dry, so I took breaks actually in between each of my videos, probably 15 or 20 minutes or so, and I actually let this one dry about a half an hour from the last video to this one. So now this is completely dry for the most part. It might be a little damp in sections here and there, but for the most part it's dry enough that it won't bleed or blossom the paint as we go in and do our finishing touches. So that's the main key when you go in to do your finishing touches of your painting, to do the real fine tuning. You want your painting to be relatively dry. The paper needs to be very dry to the touch, and this way your final touches will be going in nicely, and you won't get any blossoms or balloons or bleeding of the paint. All right, so we'll click go here, and we'll start doing our finishing touches. These are the accents to the painting, the ornaments to the painting, the final details. Here we said a little earlier that some of this got out of control with the sky. When I went in with the sky colors, we didn't worry too much. We let it just be as it was, and now we see that it wasn't really a big deal. The colors actually faded, and this is acceptable. That little bit of graininess and granulation of color a little bit, and we'll touch that up a little bit too, the top of the lighthouse. And we're doing some trees around the back of the lighthouse, and that really makes the lighthouse stand out a little more. It makes it accentuates the cone shape of the lighthouse, the cylinder shape, I should say. So we look at in art, we look at our subject matter as shapes first. So the shape of our lighthouse is a cylinder, basically a round tube. And then the top is a cone shape. And then we have rectangle shapes for the windows. And so we can think of things as shapes, which helps us a lot to, in our mind, know how we're going to paint it and draw it. So here we're doing some more touches of green color mix. That's sap green. Some cobalt blue mixed in, a little bit of raw sienna. Here I also noticed, after painting this, another option would have been to maybe I could have went with a little lighter of a value, tonal value, with these behind the lighthouse. But still, the darker value does make a nice contrast to the cylinder shape of the lighthouse. And then here we're doing some greenery, some bushes, and along the side of the painting over here. So we left a lot of white paper on this painting. It's important to. Does that make sense? To leave white paper? The white paper actually really gives us a great sense of light. Bright sunlight. So I always suggest when you're painting, if you can find some subject matter where you have white buildings or things that you can leave white on your painting, and that gives you a dramatic contrast of brightness. And as we put in some darker tonal values here, some darker paint, I'm going back in again here with the same colors I used earlier on. That would be ivory black, Payne's gray, which is a cool black. Ivory black is a warm black. Some burnt umber, some burnt sienna, and a little bit of French ultramarine blue. So I try to mix my blacks again. I mentioned this earlier. I just try to make, when I mix a black on my palette, I try to definitely add in some different colors just to modulate and have the colors look a little more interesting. So here I'm doing the railings of the top of the lighthouse, and the panes and the glass that's on the top there. And the shadow underneath the cone shape at the top. I realize everybody's style of watercolor painting is different. I tend to like the more loose, fun type of watercolor paintings. So I don't get extremely concerned too much with a ton of detail. I let the abstract feel of the composition shine through. So here in the windows, I didn't really take too much time and suffer over making every area of the window perfectly square, or up here on the top of the lighthouse, I didn't have to make sure I had every line and shape spelled out. I let things, fade in and out, and I think that gives a nice abstract feel to it, but yet it's still very realistic. So here I'm doing some of the shadowing from the lighthouse that comes across this wall here. And we're filling in. I made a nice gray color for the window treatments around the window, the stonework. Those are stone headers and stone sills at the bottom. And I think I mixed that with burnt umber, cerulean blue, and a touch of raw sienna. And I added a little bit darker tonal value to the undersides of the roof eaves. And now I'm adding a little bit of cerulean blue and a touch of burnt umber to make that shadow along this section of the lighthouse blended in a little more, to give it more of a round feel. So this is actually a cylinder, so I'm trying to get that cylinder feel by blending the light slowly into the shadow area. And there I'm touching up that shadow a little more, just making it a little more sharp. And then some shadowing on the other sides of the windows. Since the light is coming across the picture this way, the painting, the shadow is going to be on this side of the windows. And this side will be bright light since the light's coming from this direction. So you'll see the shadow on this side over here on the right on the windows. And the same thing with the lighthouse. And we're moving right along. Some more shadowing underneath the headers of the window. And a little more detail up on the top of the lighthouse by the light. And I went over the railing a second time over here. And now I'm going to put in the lines of the roof. This is either a aluminum or a steel roof, and it's got those corrugations, those lines. So we're just putting those lines in quickly and some more shadowing under the arches. And we're doing just a little more work in the bushes over here on the left side of the painting, and a little more splashes, just a little more green, some sap green, and a little bit of cobalt blue mixed in there. And now we're going to peel off the tape. I think taping off like small compositions like this is really good. This way it gives a finished feel to the composition. And that's the finished painting. I think we have a nice, beautiful sense of light, that raking light coming across the building and the lighthouse. And then the really nice shadowing, the shadows, the cool shadows, the blue cool shadows along under the eaves and along the building. And then some nice ideas of some green bushes and shrubs and trees and weeds along the sides. And it's a nice dominant painting. It's got plenty of dominance. We're close up to the building. So the feel of this is a dominant painting. We feel like we're standing right in front of the lighthouse. So it feels powerful. In a sense, if we could think of this as photography, if we're taking photographs, we're zooming into the subject matter. So that's how our painting feels. We've zoomed in. We're really capturing we're filling up the space of our painting with lots of subject matter. So overall we have a really nice sense of composition here and beautiful light, lots of color, and I think this is a successful painting. So I want to thank everybody for subscribing, for coming along and painting, and we'll see everybody on the next video. Bye-bye now.